Apologies. Internet, whatever, in the Great White North here, not working so well today. But man, what a beautiful time to be on the platform of the people right now. I was counting the contest this morning. I counted 20 available contests to draft right now. We're talking MLB with 3 separate price points for season long. We're talking 2 daily contests, daily.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What are we talking?
Talking.
Uh-oh. Well,
What's going on here?
Wait, okay, you're back.
Man, what the fuck is going on here? Yo, I'm going to excuse myself and go take care of this. I have no idea what's going on. This is bizarre because, all right, you guys take the lead here. Yeah.
All right. You got that perfect.
Neumy, what up, man?
What's going?
Heavy day today. Heavy day. Like John said, off the top, like 20 contests. I didn't have time to count because I got better shit to do. But like 20 contests available on Underdog today. And this is like a goated Wobnesday slate, I will say. I mean, we were talking before we got on stream. Everybody knows it's the attack of the Q tags.
Yeah, it's absolutely chaotic when I load it up into my sheet and got everything, and immediately I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 impacts on my rating, which are just basically star players, and then a bunch of 9s too. You could basically group it up. Yeah, it's crazy, absolutely chaotic today. You couple that with the large baseball slate that's there tomorrow. The 20, I mean, all the things that they're trying to fill. Yeah, it's absolutely chaotic. When they move the tabs around, I think it gets everybody. It's my favorite when I see someone just goes, they got me again. I entered the wrong contest, or all of a sudden I entered a best ball draft of this. And it's amazing. Like
I think they do it on purpose to kind of trick you into trying new things. Yeah, well, got to keep you on your toes.
You can see they do it for the contests that are like the closest to lock and like the ones that need to fill, so they'll bump them up there. But it's like I'll just be clicking, and next thing you know, it's just it's there, and it's hilarious. But yeah, so many contests, and this Wobnesday or Wobnesday is truly special with what's going on in just the Q tag land.
Yeah, I mean the slate itself's wild, but the macro point I was trying to make is just like, man, we went from a point in time where we basically just didn't even play best ball to like now all of a sudden we play it 150 times a day across all these different sports. It's incredible, right? It's so cool just to see how far it's progressed, right? It was a little nostalgic kickoff, and then I went future robot on everybody.
No, yeah. I mean, it was just last summer I was clamoring for like, are we going to get golf best ball? Are we going to get something? And they put something together for the last 3 majors, and now we're here with the same price points as an MLB and these playoff like it's awesome. Like it's awesome to see that, and they're just catering to that and have the ability to do it. So like you said, where we've came from in just 6 to 8 months is unbelievable. So
yeah, man, for sure. I had some smart stuff to stay and some stuff lined up, and now this is just driving me crazy that internet went all nuts on me. Neumy, you getting some nice shouts on your shirt. Nez and I both came in here and said nice shirt today. That cut shirt is beautiful. That cut shirt is beautiful.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, let's just go right into the hoops. We're gonna do hoops right off the top here, and then we're gonna do our last dinger of the year, because tomorrow we're gonna start an hour early tomorrow, and we're gonna do all daily stuff tomorrow for opening day. Get jacked up for that. But this hoop slate is just far too fun to pass up on. And as you guys alluded to, the Q tags. Oh, the one thing I wanted to talk about was last night in the hoop slate. In terms of peak silly season there with the Charlotte Hornets. We have a team that we know is tanking, that the owner's trying to sell. I kind of pushed all my chips in the middle and decided that Kelly Oubre was not playing. And I saw everybody else taking him in the 4th round. I only took him in the 6th round, and I just got ahead of the curve with DSJ. And then it didn't even matter because DSJ gets ruled out right before lock. So kind of what happened, just macro, is that the the rule outs took place before the first window of games. So everybody who set some rankings tried to swap to DSJ, and then the following window of games, he gets ruled out right at the beginning, and all your swap options were crazy limited by that point in time to just the last 3 games. So kind of a plan that backfired on me, but I kind of wanted to pick your guys' brains. Like this time of year, do you think we should be getting like exploitative in that regard? And then I'll apply it to this slate because I think there's some very interesting cues here. Do you think my strategy was intelligent? Do you think I was lighting it on fire? What do you guys think?
I don't think. I mean, it's hindsight's 2020, but I will say like you're definitely like the DSJ guy, and I am not personally. Like for him to get there, I mean, that's a great matchup against OKC. I wasn't like super confident on it, especially with Oubre being out. I think like DSJ benefits from his teammates being there because he's not really a volume scorer. He's more like a stuff the stat sheet kind of guy if he's going to get there. Where I feel like, I mean, I was a little disappointed. I lost just like a couple bucks last night, but I was really excited because I was like, oh my gosh, I have an edge here. ADP in the upper ranks of the contest was, in my opinion, like very interchangeable. So I was like, all right, here we go. And I'm reaching on Donovan Mitchell. I'm taking him top 4, and I'm going Evan Mobley. Like, and I'm taking those guys, like, and they're essentially like 1 and 2 in my ranks. And I want as much of them as possible. And I was right, but I didn't profit out of it. And that is like the most frustrating thing because like it was correct. And when Jarrett Allen comes back, it is going to like change Mobley's usage. However, I feel like the field is like now hip to like, hey, don't sleep on Evan Mobley because he's coming on right now. And it's really impressive. Neumy, were you on DSJ or Oubre last night?
I told you guys, and like I was on both. And it was mainly I was on DSJ. I agreed with you. I didn't think Oubre was going to play, and I wanted the swap. So I was playing it where DSJ, I'm pretty sure, had an ADP of what, like 20.
Neumy, I got to cut you off for 1 sec because we got a very special guest in the chat right now who doesn't always poke his head in. Your father's here. Neumy's dad is here. The legend.
Is that
T-Box. Yeah, in parentheses, T-Box. Love to see it.
I love the parentheses.
I love to see it. Shout out Corey. All right, Neumy, finish your thought on DSJ last night.
No, you're so correct me if I'm wrong, but he had an ADP of 28, 29, 30. Like he had an
was
ADP
33.
What?
It was 33? It was behind Denny Avdia.
So who am I? And he was being taken a little bit like as the day moved on, basically. Sorry, I'm thinking of PJ Washington.
Yeah, but PJ Washington was 21.
Was that like 21? Night. Yeah. So I was taking both, and I was taking DSJ basically in drafts with Oubre, even though that maybe wasn't smart. But I had the same process you did, where I thought Oubre was going to be out, and DSJ was popping with Oubre still in projections. So for me, I'm like, if Oubre gets ruled out, and that's my thesis, like he's only going to shoot up, and he did shoot up when Oubre was ruled out. So I honestly didn't even know. I was like, I'm pretty sure I was cooking. Next thing you know, I see like the Hornets lineup change, and it's Maladon in their update. I'm like, wait, that's not So I go and look, and it's like 5-6 minutes ago, DSJ ruled out. I'm like, okay, well, this is fun. So I had to go do that, but I was on him. I thought it was a fine play. And I was on
I was thinking more of like the
out.
thesis in general. I was thinking more on the thesis in general, more so than the player, to like heavy fade a Q who on a 6-game slate is going in the middle rounds. And then like, cause if you were just straight auto drafting off projections, like Kelly Oubre was like, going ahead of PJ Washington. He was 18, 17 in certain guys' ranks, and they probably moved him behind. But I was basically pushing up J. Will and Scotty Barnes and one other in that range, unfortunately over PJ Washington, because my strategy was then to load up in the 6th round with Oubre if he fell, or with DSJ. I don't know. I was just thinking about a way to, like, on a 6-game slate, flip the board. I don't really want to get into like the result of it. I was just wondering if you guys thought that was smart or that was dumb. And maybe it was dumb because of the player that I chose, it being DSJ, but I don't know. What do you guys? Yeah, I thought it was
I think
interesting combo.
I think it's valuable for the team. It's cop-out answer, but you have to go with team and context. You already talked about tanking team with the Hornets. Like, they have no incentive to play these guys with the injury that Oubre had. Like, it's just
yeah.
So yeah, you go into the like a context.
I didn't
that.
understand the Oubre hype. I will say.
I mean, you put
I had like
the
nothing.
Oubre hype is you load in 4 different projection sources, you aggregate them, you go look at any one of them separate, and Oubre is going to be, like John said, in the top 20, and he's going to be the number one guy that you go, whoa, I'll just take him in the 6 over and over again.
Yeah.
So I take that, and I was like,
Ooh,
I mean, I have the
this
lean.
makes me feel better.
Be in or out, and I'm like, So my lean was like he was going to be out. So I think that's fine because I was taking him for the swap equity. I wasn't even taking him for really like him playing. If he played it seemed like a benefit. But the thing was of why that I like your process is I'm taking DSJ and PJ Washington. So it's like a double-edged sword that I'm hoping that he's going to be out, which he was. And then the other guys benefit and they're worth their ADP kind of. Although I was over PJ Washington to start. I know people were where I was talking to other guys and they were really kind of off them. So basically it was a contingency play where if I took these guys and that guy's out, it kind of backfires. But your overall macro point to it, I think it's fine, especially on a 6-game slate because you get exploitative. That's the way that I think you've leaned towards playing too.
Yeah, I think that was my thought process, and it kind of is comforting to see that T-Box had a similar strategy and ended up with 60% DSJ there. Kind of makes me feel less crazy about what I decided to do last night, but just kind of fun. Yeah, and then the applicability on this slate from that I wanted to take away was we are seeing Maxey and Quickly get drafted in almost every single draft right now. But both of their kind of benefactors on the other side have Q tags right now. So when it comes to swap season later tonight on a 10-gamer, if we get no Harden and we get no Brunson, those guys are already going to be owned. Tonight, I'm not as concerned as I would have been last night because it's a 10-game slate. And I can find those raw points from somewhere else, maybe from a Zach Collins type or something like that, on a swap. Where do you guys come off on that? Are we trying to get ahead of these Q tags? Are we embracing these Q tags tonight? Where are you guys at?
I think I'm most concerned. Like, I don't have a whole lot of concern. I mean, Brunson's like 50-50, but I lean that he's going to play. There is concern there. I'd be like lying if I said there wasn't, but I think he plays. Harden is a little like up in the air, but like I got to get in on him because it's the Mavericks. I think Embiid plays. SGA, I think, plays. And I think Jimmy Butler plays. And Jimmy Butler goes, like, really, really late. It's, like, too late for somebody that, like, I believe is, like, definitely playing.
And Lowry was ruled out, like, 6 minutes before, like, ago.
Oh, really?
I missed that. Oh, good catch. Yeah. Thank you, Neumy.
That's big. That's really big.
Yeah, because that justifies Walker Kessler's ADP a little bit, but that brings in like, THT in the 6th round into play, something like that, especially because of that Spurs matchup. We're looking at the 4th highest total on the slate. That's not that far off versus that awful Spurs team.
Yeah, and it's whenever we have high usage guys that are out and like the softest matchups like conceivable against the Spurs, that is whenever like things get like really, really interesting. We saw it yesterday with the Thunder when we lose SGA and they're playing the Hornets. Like Giddey and Jalen Williams will just never be priced appropriately enough because people just like don't really quite comprehend how much usage like gets freed up, especially in these bad matchups. Like they were like slam dunk picks. Now with like Lowry out and playing the Spurs, I mean, yeah, it justifies Walker Kessler's ADP. I think he definitely gets a little bit of a boost, and like THT is what, yeah, exactly, right? Because everybody remembers the last few games when THT absolutely like burnt our money on fire. You just simply have to go back to that well. You just have to, like, if in this game it's the Spurs without Lauri Markkanen, like this is the best spot to take THT because everybody hates him. Everybody remembers what he did to their money the last few times he's out there. So this is the time to take.
He's got a flat 36 ADP. Last 2 games ago, in that Sacramento
Oh.
spot, he had all the foul trouble in the world and lit it on fire, but he still found his way to 28 minutes there. Yeah.
And I don't know about you. I think LeBron
right.
plays like for sure. And like his ADP should be above Anthony Davis.
Ooh, I like that. That's spicy because Anthony Davis has the probable tag and his ADP is number 4 right now. So that's a very interesting take there. I wanted to ask you, Neumy, you haven't spoken a minute here. I'd like to ask you. I have no idea what to make of the Thunder and Utah right now, what they're doing, because they're both on the fringe of the play-in game. Like, are they just not putting it on the line to then get into that play-in game to then have a chance at the postseason? Because we see, I mean, we just saw Markkanen ruled out. It's a hand. It was a back 2 games ago, something like that. And then SGA, we see him ruled out last night. I really think he plays tonight, and they've been quite outspoken about him on the back-to-back stuff. But I don't know. Like, are these teams just like not trying to win, even though they're right in the thick of the play-in game?
I think they know that they don't really have the team right now to compete. So it's like, even if they get into the play-in game, they're then sacrificing them odds at a better pick, which is everyone is in their world is trying to at least get better odds for Wemby. So that's the overall goal. So even though that's just my thought, you can tell me, everyone can tell me their thoughts, but it's like these guys are trying so hard to show that they are not tanking while still trying to tank in a way. So I have no idea, because when I told Nez right away, like, I think Lowry plays. Like, that was one of the first things when like Leans came in today. It's like, I thought Lowry plays, and like,
I thought he was one of the safest of the bunch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, not one of the, I thought he was a kind of a, good to go. Now, when it comes to SGA and the Thunder, we know it's peak silly season all season with the Thunder. Like, that's just the Thunder all the time. They're just incentivized to get better odds for that lottery. So they're I mean, a couple years off still from competing against these teams that they'll have to face if they get into these actual, like, the playoffs. But I really have no idea. I'm still going back to the well, like SGA, like you're going to tell me SGA at 8 ADP. I'll take that all day against Detroit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they sat him out yesterday for a reason. I would be shocked if they're that bold enough to sit them on a back-to-back. I mean, even though it is the 2 teams you would think you can do it against in Charlotte and Detroit, I would be shocked that they just don't have them play.
The Harden one's interesting because both Harden and Embiid sat last game, and the Harden one has seemed real for a while, despite going through shoot around last game and then getting the probable tag and then getting ruled out. So I'm not entirely sure what to make of that one. It does feel like kind of more real than the other ones, but I tend to agree with both you guys with SGA there. Anything guys you're targeting, macro level stuff about the slate, games in which you feel confident, or should we just jump in a draft?
The macro thing right off the bat that you said, I think that you're going to have to make a decision on is these Q tags and then the contingent plays that are being drafted. And that's looking at you, Jalen Brunson, and that's looking at you, James Harden. You don't have their immediate swaps that you would think everyone's going to flock to. As you pointed out right away, we have we have Maxey going to the 29.1, and it's probably up. These are ADPs are like 2 hours ago I loaded them. And then we have Quickly at 32. So like those are guys that are being drafted quite frequently, especially Maxey. I would assume Quickly's being drafted about. I have yet to draft this. I've been doing the full court press, but like you're going to have to make a decision. Are you going to lean in on these? Like, basically, are you going to lean in on the Q tags? And then you would think that the Maxey and the Quickly teams are kind of dead on a 10-game slate when their benefactor is now in. Or are you going to basically take these guys when you expect their Q tags to be out, and then they're going to shoot up the board? I think that's one of the big things you're going to have to tackle, what you want to do there. And then it's kind of free game with the rest of it.
Yep. Fully agree there. I personally don't expect to see Middleton tonight, which makes Holiday look kind of nice. I think the Bucks are in a really nice spot, second highest implied team total, and Giannis expected to be back there. Middleton went off last game, but I'm not really expecting him to be back again tonight after that. Anything you guys want to add, or should we hop in a draft?
Just hop in.
Let's hop in.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, I do think the biggest decision right now is whether you're going to draft Harden and Brunson or whether you're going to try and get ahead of the Maxey and IQ tier. And to be fair, I don't think I want any part of Maxey, even if Harden sits.
See, I disagree with that big time.
Okay, I like that.
Against the Mavericks, like that, he actually has he actually makes sense. But the thing is I feel like that is already a little bit priced. It's more priced in than it usually would be because he's coming off these really good games. If he wasn't coming off these like insanely like productive games, he would probably be more in like the 30s, but people are like anticipating that out for Harden is like my thought, along with like the box score watching. I will say, speaking of like guys that have like, you know, burnt us, like I mentioned, THT, I think is somebody that like is not going to get the appropriate steam he deserves because of like past box scores. Dinwiddie against the Rockets tonight, he put up a stinker last night, dude. 14 points. I believe that was last night. And
2 nights ago.
2 nights ago. Yeah, it's still it feels like last night because of how much it hurt. But now, you know, against the Rockets, and we're looking at a 37.95 fantasy point pick'em on Underdog.
The spreadsheets agree with you there. They are people will be drafting him quite high. They're in the near 20s. So
they're not right
now. They will. Once the people load in their spreadsheets and they start to see it. Like I'm looking at 3 different projection sources.
I think enough normies are going to keep that ADP down. I'm not going to lie. I think the Nets feel like they're hard to project because they don't really have an identity. And I'm telling you that 14 points on Dinwiddie, like the field, there's just certain things that the field just doesn't quite comprehend in certain spots, and I'll be surprised if it catches up. Like I'll you can tell me I told you.
I just think there's reasons why it's just basically kind of.
This is Embiid, like no question. By the way,
Embiid.
He might even be like 102, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about an Embiid spot here against Christian Wood and Dwight Powell, and he's just going to go to work down low, especially after all this media disrespect he's getting as, oh, he didn't step up in the Joker game and he didn't play against him. He's not in the MVP race anymore. You don't think he's going to take that to heart and just go, yeah, I'm putting up 80 fantasy points tonight?
You think Christian Wood's going to stop this man? Yeah, he's got Christian Wood basically and Dwight Powell. Yeah,
he could sleepwalk his way to like 14 boards tonight.
Yeah. I will say it's not a clear cut 101 for me. As I like Giannis, I like Embiid, and I still like Luka. But I'll just take them where I get them, kind of type deal. And if Embiid is going to be the 103, sure. Like if I'm at the 3 pick and I'm consistently getting like Embiid, Doncic, or like that, I feel like that's one of the better picks right now. Is you just get that 3, one of the top 3 I like. But I mean, you still have AD, which I will say I was shocked that you have LeBron. You would think. I mean, I don't have LeBron higher than AD. I don't even think on the season he's close to a fantasy point per minute guy that AD is.
Well, maybe that's just like me being wrong, but I don't know. I really do think. Well, LeBron's going in an appropriate spot, but I just think there's no question that he gets like a full workload. Like they've got they're just Lakers are one of the teams that have to win their game. Like they have to win their games. Like they're playing for something. There's not a whole lot.
I like D-Book.
Say that.
Yeah, I think Booker's a bit of a tier break in my mind right now when these Q tags go before. I think in my pre-rankings I had Booker at 8, or I had LeBron and then Booker, then SGA. I think that's kind of what I was auto drafting earlier. I deleted them right before the draft here, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I low-key like Randall today. Am I crazy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
just
matchup feels bad, but
Randall's always someone that's interesting, man. Like, yeah, he's like the matchup's not great, but like,
I never get him right.
He can show. He's shown us the ceiling of what he can do like point wise. He can go Jalen Green on us, and then he can actually put up a score with points and ancillary stat and going out there and getting blocks and steals. So it's just the matchup isn't great. I don't think like the pace is great. Vegas will tell you that. Like obviously I don't have to do that, but he's capable. He's like any one of these stars you can make a case for of having a game on a daily. You know what I mean? Like I can always resort back to Vegas and be like, oh, well, yeah, the pace and all this and the other games and this largest slate and all this. But he's got to definitely be as someone you have to take at ADP. Ooh, Jaw. It's interesting.
Yeah. So we get a Jaw ADP fall here. I think he's going to start again. His first game back, he played off the bench. He played 19 minutes. Then he started. Then he had a rest day with no designation. Am I choppy again?
A little bit. I'm just like, I can't believe that we got Jaw at 15.
Yeah. As long as you guys can keep hearing the audio and seeing the draft, I'm not going to do anything. But I got that one bar at def again. I don't know, man. This is crazy. I'm plugged into the wall and I pay for the best internet around. Like, what's going on here? I'm going to sort this shit out before tomorrow for you guys. Apologies, everybody. I think this is a very interesting part of the draft in the third round, because this is where we definitively have to make the decision of, are we embracing some of these Q tags? Are we taking a stand on some of these Q tags? Or are we getting ahead by pushing up the SGAs, the IQs, the Maxis? This is kind of like the main decision point. And I think our decision in this particular draft was made for us because Ja fell, and that kind of became an easy one for us. But I kind of would like to know what you guys go in this next range here in terms of, are we looking at some of the Chicago guys? Are we getting ahead of the SGA with Giddey? Where do your guys' eyes go in this middle third and fourth round here?
Nick took him at 18. I'd like to get Jaren Jackson if possible. I'm always a big Jaren Jackson guy, so I know that's an earlier guy. Obviously, James Harden. I think it was kind of interesting sentiment that he was going to play last game. It was kind of a shock that he didn't. Yeah, just the way it was building up and the words we were getting from Doc and everything. So obviously, we can't take that for certain, but I lean him more towards playing. Like, I really think he's one of the safer ones. We know how that goes with my calls and just with James. Yeah, and then
who do you guys like here?
This is crazy, man. I mean, Ant.
I think I would take Ant. Yeah, and just
I'm still flabbergasted. But like, John Morant had a scheduled rest game. I cannot believe that he fell to 15. A 118 team total. And he's ramping back up against the Clippers. Like, I'm paying you
against
I'm paying you $10 on the dollar for this team. I want in on this.
Against the Clippers without probably their best wing defender or second best wing defender. Yeah, it's a good one, man. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But back to like kind of like the macro of this tier here, this area. Do you guys like any of the Chicago guys today? Do you think Cat is kind of getting back to that starting lineup and more rotational minutes worth it? I know you guys talked about Dinwiddie before. Who do you guys like in this range?
Chicago guys, surprisingly, kind of, I like.
Yeah, me too.
Like, yeah, I don't hate them as much as usual. I think that's just because their prices continue to get suppressed.
This is a big game for both teams.
Yeah, the matchup is nice. The Lakers are not scary defensively.
No.
I mean, I think they've made a little better strides overall. They're not that scary defensively, even with AD and LeBron in there. Let's see here. So yeah, like you could talk me into
getting some big love.
You could talk me into Vooch. I think I'd probably go Bam.
I want one of these. I think I want one of these three. Who do you guys like?
Oh, dude, Bam is on my like damn near ban list. I like Vooch personally, but like if Neumy likes Bam, you know, there might be something there that I'm missing.
Okay.
Bam at the
Neumy
Mecca.
We trust. In Neumy we trust. Chad putting some smart stuff in the chat right now, just talking about how it feels like a bad matchup, but it's also been kind of a blow up spot multiple times this year.
Yeah.
Randall against Miami so far with 46, 58.3, and then 34.7. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we don't know the flow of those games and, you know, the minutes associated with those and whatnot, but just good basis of knowledge and reference there from Chad.
Yeah, this is just such a loaded slate.
Mm-hmm. It's such a
Especially if
loaded
these
slate, yet
cues
Zach
are in.
Collins just keeps getting pushed up further and further.
Hey man, listen, like he's doing the damn thing. And is anybody out from the Spurs? Is Keldon Johnson? I haven't
Yeah,
really seen
Keldon's
him.
out.
Okay,
Like,
and against Utah, like I get it.
yeah.
Is
We got
anybody
no
out for the Spurs?
Yeah, we got
And
nobody from the Spurs.
That was a
Yeah,
dumb question.
Sochan, Vassell, and Keldon are out.
Trey Jones in a full court press because his ceiling is
wait,
like
Zach,
35
Zach
points.
Collins already
Would you
went.
guys
Looking at T,
would you
I'm sorry,
guys
is
say
T-box in this draft?
would you guys say in a full court press in these? In my mind, it always just goes like in a GPP, like
That's
the
exactly
old
what it
memes and
is.
shit. That's all I fucking think about.
It's the
in
same
a
font.
GPP.
It's the same
Yeah.
font.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
Khalif Raymond in a GPP.
hey,
Like, you know?
anything can happen.
Oh
I
my
like
goodness.
someone was talking about the cycle and the main baseball, and they're like, yeah, I wanted to take basically someone in this, but I couldn't take him in the 6-man. And then she just goes, do they score more points in this and then cycle versus
Yeah,
the
the
6-man or
cycle
something like that? Like they score the same amount of points.
6 and 12 is no different.
We got a very interesting decision here. We're at the back end of the board, sort of. So we could get a Brunson swap, and we just take the swing on Brunson in the 6 because Brunson in the 6 feels good. Claxton feels really nice
so.
tonight.
Claxton
in that
feels
Houston.
really good. Yeah.
Okay. You guys like that spot more so than these other ones? Jalen, kind of a contingency bet. We saw him ball out last night.
Yeah, see, Jalen is for me someone that if there's any silly season with SGA, that's why I'm very comfortable with going SGA with full on. Basically, there's a swap. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, Jalen Williams being free is nice.
Yeah, obviously, like SGA being there, like you said, being there. If we're talking about the usage that they gain, putting SGA in that lineup, you take away a lot of usage and a lot of fantasy point per minutes for these fellas. So, it's just that's why it's just he's of the Q tags, he's a comfortable click for me, even if he doesn't play and they have silly season, just because I can get that swap.
Yeah, I fully agree with you there, Neumy. I think Jalen Williams will be looking like he's under-owned right now and then become like a 4th-round pick by the time lock rolls around if we end up with no SGA. But that being said, that makes him a bet I kind of want to start making in the 6th round here. Do me a favor, guys, because the clock ran out on us there. Rank these guys for me. Who are your favorite of this kind of like back end tier? You don't have to quantify it. You don't have to whatever. Like, obviously, you know,
Spencer Dinwiddie won.
Okay, so Dinwiddie's your favorite of this bunch. Okay.
Yeah, so when it comes to the Nets, I like Dinwiddie in these soft spots way more than I like Claxton in these soft spots. I feel like Claxton does better in like more competitive game environments. I have no data to back that up, but that's just like the vibe that I get.
Yeah.
I would go Cat 2.
Interesting. Okay, so you think the minutes are going to come back for Cat?
Yeah, so if you just look at his minutes, I've been kind of digging into that. I think it was like 26 and 32 or something like that. And that's
pretty strong.
Nice
pretty
to
strong.
know. The thing is, like, which with them being fully healthy with Cat back, it's kind of like a what you know what I mean? It's not great. You don't because you have now Rudy, Cat, Ant, and all these boys. You have Conley and Slow-Mo stepping up into roles. You have McDaniel stepping up, like not fantasy wise, but at least chipping in. So it seems like they're just watching them and looking at the recent stats. They've been really sharing it. So it's kind of like a pick the guy that may go off. But I think the reason why I like Cat is I think Nick put it in chat. Don't mind Cat going to the 6th. So
yeah, that's too late.
If that's happening in some of these, I would scoop that up for sure. So
yeah, I was gonna make a comment to you yesterday, but I didn't. Just that like how much I think the T-Wolves are like really coming on strong for the playoffs. And then on Club Top Shot, Jack Settleman said the same thing, that he was like really bullish on the T-Wolves. Like
that's the head of winning right there. So we can't take Neumy at his word because he's the head of Homer. But we could take Jack at his word because he's the head of winning. This is different. Yeah. These are two distinctions here.
I'm telling you, man, like with how wide open the West is, like I don't like
Give us the Kings in the first round and see what happens.
The Timberwolves are like matchup issues for like a lot of teams because like I know we clown on the Gobert trade, but like what he does defensively is very unique. Like other than like with AD and the Lakers, like in the West, like it's. I'm telling you, man, you don't want to mess with them. And I think Cat plays a big role tonight. And this is a really high total game.
The Booker Cat narrative, like they're best friends. At one point, it was like, can we get them together on the same teams? Like, but then we got D'Lo and of the trio, the three. So like, that's what you have that all in there. But
let me do I also think the narrative with the Cavs that we talk about from the East is like banging in the paint with two really strong big men in the postseason matters. Like just for physicality purposes, when the style of basketball changes. Well, look in the West, man. Look at those two big men banging with whoever they want in the West. Who's got two big men that can bang with Gobert and Cat in the low block, right? Like just from, if they get the Warriors, like they're gonna beat the living shit out of Draymond and Looney, like like just down low.
Careful what you wish for. I don't know if Neumy is going to welcome that matchup.
Yeah, I'm scared about the Warriors. Like I
but Sacramento, that's the perfect one because like those two guys on Sabonis down low, forget about it. Anyways, this list here, the reason I did this exercise for 1 second is because I wanted to get your guys's. So this is how I think I would actually move right now.
I moved Claxton up to above that. I didn't see Clax there, so it would be Clax, Cat, or Spencer, Claxton, and then Cat. And I would just put Maxey and Quickly to the bottom. I'm not going to be for me personally. Sure. I'm not taking them.
Yeah. So this is where I'm going with it. Okay, now give me like we'll pretend those guys are at the bottom right now. Now give me if Brunson is in, does Brunson go to the top?
No, but it's close. He moves ahead of Cat.
Okay, so you put him here. Do you agree with that, Nez?
I'd probably, out of principle, throw him like
move him to the top. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's do it. If Jalen is out and Harden are out, does Maxey and Quickly go above Dinwiddie?
Maxey goes above Dinwiddie for me. Quickly, I think he will get a boost in price, and it'll just probably be too much for me. I don't really like this matchup with the Heat. So unless Quickly like stays down there, but in a vacuum, I think Quickly is fine where he is right there.
I think Maxey moves up ahead of them all. I think Quickly definitely gets a bump. Like he gets a bump and is in contention, basically being with Spencer and Tyrese. Yeah, that's kind of
cool.
That.
Yeah, that's all I need to know. And then the last question is if SGA is out, does Jalen jump them all?
Oof. Yes.
Nez?
Yeah, you might as well just say yes. It's like same tier.
They're very close. It's not like a big jump, but like I look at a matchup for like against Houston and Detroit, and like that's just for me bumping these dudes up. Like give me those matchups. Those teams are just what I want to target.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with both of you guys there, just in terms of the assessment. And I'd like to do it as a visual exercise there to be like, okay, now where can we find a little bit of leverage in isolated drafts as we're going right now? Like, okay, maybe this draft, we paint the narrative that, Maxey in the 5th round is the guy you need and IQ in the 6th is the guy you need, or Jalen in the 6th is the guy you need. And how do we get ahead of that so that we have those kind of guys preemptively there in just, a handful of drafts that we're hand doing right now. Counterpoint to the Quickly thing is Nick's going to the game tonight. Nick at the Garden versus the Knicks, or with the Knicks. Nick Quickly. I don't know where I'm going with that one, but there's something there, boys. There's something there. Yeah,
we're real life sweat's different.
Chad with a good point about just in general in the playoffs is then you bring Naz Reid off the bench too, and you get that backup center minutes rotation there. There's a lot of teams that won't have an answer for that one. I'm really falling in love with Minnesota here. Just so Neumy, this feels like the Vikings all over again. You know, I'm slowly getting talked into playoff Vikings. This feels like Heartbreak City right now.
Oh man. Oh man. Did you guys see that Mike Conley finger roll pass? Did you guys see that?
Yeah,
Oh,
where
yeah,
he
it was
turned his
insane.
hand.
Yeah, he literally like finger rolled it was This man is just I never knew I needed Mike Conley in my life more than I do right now.
Do you guys like AD at 4, or do you like someone from like kind of like next grouping over him?
Man, I like SGA.
Oh,
You could
let's
tell
do it.
me either SGA or AD.
He might
I
come
would go
back.
AD probably. Yeah, I would go AD.
Okay, let's do
probably.
this. With 2 non-Badgers behind, oh, sorry, no disrespect. No red Badgers behind, I think SGA has a pretty good chance at coming back. That was my bro science take there. I'm about flipping the board. I think I would flip the board in a different draft room though.
I mean, I think we've already seen like drafts with 3rd round SGA, so might as well just push it.
Whoa. 3rd round SGA?
That can't be popular.
Maybe not pop. Maybe I think 2nd round's probably popular, but we've seen 3rd, which just makes me think that it is alive. Let me make sure I'm not. I swear someone put it in.
Let's say SGA gets ruled in halfway through today. Where is his new ADP? Is it 4? Is it 3? Is it?
Maybe
that's the winner of last night's slate. They're saying that you just disrespected.
Good. Talk to me when he wins the dunk 2 a couple times. That's sick.
A couple of notches on your belt from the dunk 2, and then
and in spite of that comment, he's milking the clock and gonna take.
He is the winner. He's the winner. God, he's the winner.
I was wrong. I didn't see SGA 3rd round, night. but I would still think that you'd try to push him.
I didn't call him a dunk.
I don't know.
I just called him a non-red red badger. Okay, I just call him like I see him, boys. Do we like Book over here? Kevin Durant feels very similar to the DeMar DeRozan tonight, but to like the nth degree, where it's like, if you want Durant and you want to get ahead of Durant, you got to take him at his ADP to get your exposure to him. But I'm really, really scared he's only going to play 26 minutes.
Yeah. I'm trying to. So I have 2. I've been trying to like update the minutes and see if they're just wrong. But I'm looking at Kevin Durant at 27 minutes or 29 minutes on one, and then 32 on one. That was more than I was expecting. Let me.
Yeah,
again,
I'm
gonna update it one more time here. 29.1 and. Where is Phoenix? 29.1 and 32. So that's more than I myself was expecting. So even I will say, even with that, he's still around in terms of spreadsheet, all that. He's 25th in basically ceiling with all these other guys and all the other options. But then you have to do the Kevin Durant bump and the total bump.
Yep.
So it's just like you gotta give him the benefit of the doubt that this dude is the greatest offensive weapon we've seen. So,
right,
like if anyone can get it done in limited minutes, it's Kevin Durant. Like we've seen it. He already did it, I think, once in his like limited minutes. So, exactly.
Yes, he did already. That's a good point. That
Jesus Christ.
I got a question for you guys. I thought Keldon Johnson was playing when I originally looked at projections, and I saw a dude like thrust up in the middle of the rankings there, but it's actually Keon Johnson, former Tennessee Volunteer, former 1st round pick of the Knicks, playing for Portland tonight, and I'm seeing him popping in the models. Here, let's go ahead. You could twist my arm into Fox, JJJ, or one of the Q tags.
I think De'Aaron Fox, but
Fox, sure.
Yeah, pace up spot versus the aforementioned Keon Johnson there. Tell me something about a Keon Johnson, and should I be playing him tonight?
Maybe in the full court press, sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at
Keon Johnson.
2 different sheets right now. He is this might just be a flat out typo. But currently on Stochastic, Josh Giddey, 40.1, Kyrie Irving, 40.01, Keon Johnson, 39.62 fantasy point mean projection. And
Where do they
then
have Shaden
Walker
Sharp?
Kessler, then Anthony Edwards behind.
Do they have Sharp behind Keon?
They must.
That seems
No.
They have Shaden Sharp at 32.45, just behind Tyrese Maxey.
There's got to be an input, something to that.
I think they messed up somewhere.
That's very interesting. And this was updated 22 minutes ago.
That's their stand of the day, I guess.
How many minutes are they projecting this, brother?
32.3.
Huh? Well, I'll be damned.
All right.
I mean,
these guys wanted me to put some respect on this Strand guy's name for winning last night. Let me be the first to remind everybody that results do not always equal process. But let me also be the one to say that he is auto drafting and full tanking both sides of the clock here. Have some decency as a former winner to click the damn autopilot. Son of a bitch, man. Come on. All right. I like Jaren Jackson.
Yeah.
That being said, Jaren Jackson's the pick.
Yeah, that being said, I was on JJJ as the pick before, so we're gonna do JJJ here because
right.
Yeah.
I
others, and he fell.
Yeah,
it was a split. I wasn't taking Fox, so
that's one of the big beneficial moments of missing these Q tags. Right? Is these Q tags right now? We saw it last night, where one of the teams that was leading for a long time had a Zinger plus Tatum start, right? And you go, oh my God, how is that possible, right? How can you possibly get that combo? And it's, well, when that person was drafting early in the day, there were 3 Q tags in between those picks, and that's how one of them gets pushed and fall. That might have just happened for us, right? Because you get JJJ in the 4th round. JJJ is going to be a front end 3rd round pick as soon as if caveat being if 2 or 3 of these Q tags get ruled out. Because if you look at the draft board right now, if we get SGA out, Harden out, and Butler out, something like that, and then maybe even Embiid, like JJJ moves all the way like over here. Granted, we do not have the Grizzlies injury report yet because they played last night. So cautionary tale right now with both the Heat, the Thunder, and the Grizz is none of those Q tags that are appearing or not appearing on the site are official. They will be halfway through today. We could see, some major chaos in 3 hours time, right?
That's a good point.
I think we're all on the Dinwiddie train.
Yeah, I think fifth round Dinwiddie is going to be really, really solid tonight.
Love it.
Feel good about buying the dip on him.
Yeah, and I mean, you could push me into take a swing on Q-Tag Brunson right now. But when I've built out a roster that currently has, AD, Booker, Fox, JJJ, and Dinwiddie, they're all non-Q-Tag guys, though JJJ's status could change in 2 hours. But if I build out a roster like this with no Q-Tags, I'm not necessarily going to embrace that unnecessary Q-Tag right now. Maybe in the 6th round, maybe give me a little bit of swappability, but I'm not going to just take on that added risk right now because I think I'm currently building a roster that might not be available in 2 hours.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Just thinking about the team that you're constructing and not wanting to ruin it.
That's the downside of the Q tags is simply if they do get ruled out, you just don't get the guys in the range. And that's always been something in the last couple of weeks that I've been just thinking of. There's been opportunities and teams that I just go back and look at. It's like, if I just didn't take 3 Q tags here and just took the guys at this range that fell, and rather than reaching on another or saying, oh, this Q tag fell, but getting guys that would actually be thrusted up. I know 2-3 spots, even maybe 4 or 5 spots because of all of these Q tag dominoes to fall. Yeah, it's something that it's like a double-edged sword. Like, of course I want the Q tags because there's that value alone in those players. But then if you're just taking nonstop over and over again, you're not getting exposure to the guys around him. Especially if they get ruled out, then it's kind of like, oof, you really need those swaps to outperform the guys in that range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said, Demi. Yeah, I think it is the blessing and the curse of the Q tags, and people like to share the super teams with all these Qs, but like, what's the tertiary effects of the other teams you're missing on, right?
Yeah.
That being said, we would have first swap in this draft unless one of these Q tags is ruled out. We would have second swap. We could take Brunson here. We could go exploitative and get ahead of this, or we could take, something safer like this.
I think you just do Brunson.
Yeah, take Nez's boy.
Or yeah.
I would have said Zach Collins just because he's popping, and I like in the Spurs, and he's just no one's on the Spurs, like you said. Keldon is not playing, so like the Spurs, he is very much so popping, and he's just I like the guys, the fantasy point per minute guys, that if he just gets a little more minutes, he's most likely going to produce in that, given foul or barring any foul trouble or anything like that. So,
yep, I like it.
You guys, best of luck. I need to run. I gotta go.
Safe.
I gotta go pick up the old ball and chain from the airport. So you guys, best of luck.
The end of the Bachelor weekend, huh?
The bull run. It's over. I drafted more drafts than I think I've ever drafted in like a 72-hour period. I need a detox. Like I need to like learn how to be a good person again. So
good person, he says.
I was not contributing to.
Hey, Nez, you're a better man than me, because I would have been like, listen here, sweetheart. You know what the ROI of my time spent driving to the airport plus the gas plus whatever? I'd be like, here's your Uber paid for, sweetheart. I'll even get you an XL. That was what I would do.
If I would have binked this week, I would have paid for her Uber. But I'm a week removed from my.
You just call it a pre.
What a gentleman.
Call your shot.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. Tonight, because of my good karma.
Oh,
Wobnesday is mine.
I love it. Yeah. Well, you're the namesake. All right. Peace, Nez.
All right. Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Peace.
All right. Paul asking in the chat if we've done a dinger yet. No, last dinger starts right after this. That'll be the definitive ending dinger. I think both Neumy and I are going to try and get into that one. So if you want to anticipate when we're clicking on that lobby, it's going to be as soon as this one nears completion here.
Yeah. Hey, you got to give me dude, I've had 3 people knock on my door this morning, and just like, and 2 of them, one of them was a Jehovah's Witness, which I've already said I do not want to come back. And then 2 of them have been people from like here, just like literally they knock and then put something on there. So I have like 2 notes. So just give me a second here.
All right. I wonder how that if you told that Jehovah's Witness person that like, hey man, you can't come in right now. I'm doing degenerate gambling things on the internet right now, like what their reaction would be. That would be insane. And yeah, Chip, I did call Westbrook safe tonight. I do kind of like Westbrook tonight. I don't know why I do, but I kind of like him tonight. I'm gonna go ahead here and we're gonna go fade the Q. No, we're in the 6 hole. We're not going fade the Q tag in the 6 hole. I'm gonna go Kawhi and SGA. I think I like SGA more than Kawhi tonight, just in a vacuum. So I think previously I had them ranked the other way around. You could twist my arm into LeBron there. I honestly don't think LeBron's like 100% right. It was very strange that he came off the bench on Sunday. I have no idea, but yeah, they're knocking our door down for your salvation. That's 100% accurate. Just don't mind me. I'm gambling with my friends on the internet. Yeah, I mean, this is evergreen statement, right? Neumy, I was just saying that I think I like SGA as if I knew SGA was playing tonight, I think he's probably my 4th player off the board tonight. What do you think? I think I like him more than AD if I knew he was playing. Yeah,
I think it's a coin flip, to be honest with you. I lean towards SGA a little bit, but yeah, I think it's I couldn't fault you there. I think with Braun back, not that it really matters. LeBron just seems. I need to see LeBron be like I don't know. He just seems not healthy. He just seems like he's pushing it.
I just said the same thing. It doesn't feel right yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, just, I mean, but then again, it's LeBron. He's superhuman. He could just go out there and do that. But with that being said, LeBron's there, brings down the ceiling a little bit in my mind. And it's just SGA potentially against the Detroit Pistons. Sign me up. Just sign me up. Dude could go out there and it's like he's playing pickup. Like,
Oh, actually, I got a good one for you that I wanted to put your guys' way. We were having, the classic conversation, locker room talk last night when we were playing puck and stuff, and guys are talking about, you've been watching the tournament, because I was saying, I gotta check my NBA stuff right before we go on the ice here. I want to see if I have a sweat kind of thing. And they go, oh man, that's such bad basketball. Why don't you just watch the tournament? The tournament's such good basketball. This is the worst, tiredest bullshit take in the history of whatever. The guys playing in the tournament right now, like remaining teams, one of them, maybe like three of them. I actually don't know the specific players that are like remaining. Let's go ahead and make this pick. We could get ahead of, I guess it makes no sense to pair Giddey with SGA other than being unique. So let's take Harden.
Yeah, let's do Harden, and then we could do Walker. We could just do Walker Kessler.
Get ahead of
I don't know what my stuff shows technically, but I would assume he gets the. I mean, I'm just a sucker for Walker Kessler and these guys that can just go nuclear. You know what I mean? Like,
look at that. Look at that. He's a guy who can just go with, the stocks factor, right?
I think I'm about to agree with you big time on your take here. I think we're in the
So this tired ass take that it's like these kids, they're trying so hard. They're not, we love college basketball because of this. College basketball is like bad fucking basketball. It's like
so bad.
If you put Jaden Ivey on the floor, if you put Jaden Ivey on that floor, he's scoring 50. You know what I mean? National championship game or not. If I put my boy Keon Johnson, who is popping in the models tonight. I've never seen this guy play hoops in my life. You put him in the national championship on Monday night, that guy is dropping 45. I guarantee it. Just because like the level and depth of talent, and I just feel like the average casual basketball observer doesn't appreciate that. That's where my take's at.
The take of the two takes of, but they play actual defense and they play the game the right way. I'm like, the right way is to shoot 20% from the field, brick open shots, miss your layups, literally just be awful TV to watch. Like I have that in the background and I find myself literally toggling to golf on a Thursday opening round 1 golf, bro. Like, I get it. Eat your own cup of tea, but the whole, it's better basketball. Sit down and watch the NBA. It's 82 games. They don't need to play the defense that these dudes need to play in the freaking tournament. They're playing in like it's a.
I'd rather watch Charlotte, Detroit, in March. Like it's just
bro,
I get
how much.
I get supporting like your alma mater and if your school's in it, and I love the hype around it, and I love like the event, the spectacle of the event. But like this counter argument that like the casual fan is like, I don't watch basketball. Basketball's like, because I hear it a lot from like hockey guys, right? Where it's like, I don't watch basketball, right? I think we take Vooch here, and then we can kind of make a decision.
And so I think we take Vooch. And then there's a real interesting decision we could do. I assume Maxey and Quickly are gonna go, so we can't really just take one. I'll leave this up to you. You make. I'm interested what you would do here.
Pair him with Walker Kessler.
I like it, dude. That's interesting. Now I'm tapped in and I got the play. Before I go on I won't go into a newbie tangent because I can do it. But the whole they play defense, and the NBA doesn't play defense.
Right.
The NBA plays better defense than they have ever played, ever. They have the guys that are defending and guarding. It is the toughest time.
Neumy, jump in this, or here I'll jump in and see what happens. There you go. 9 spots. Get in there.
Like I totally get you can pinpoint possessions and guys not trying and certain James Harden types, but the level of actual defenders and what these guys have to like do to make a shot in the NBA is leaps and
Mhm.
bounds harder than freaking college basketball. It's
Right.
absurd. Of course, they're not back there punching each other like the bad boys and elbowing them to where and push them. It's just like they've outlawed that. Like, yes, I get you can call it soft and all this, and it has theirs, but man, dude, like the level of talent in the NBA is truly absurd. And like I don't it's always the they play defense take and they don't play this like they have
Mhm.
never played better defense. There's never been a better level of defense and like the talent and the skill in the NBA. It's going to keep evolving and every year is going to evolve and be better than it ever has been and will
Mhm.
always be leaps and bounds better than college basketball.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like what Raisin says here. I've heard the argument for like junior hockey versus like NHL hockey for like so long, or I've heard the argument of like college football versus NFL football. I think the spectacle, the passion, the tied to your alma mater, I respect the hell out of all of that. I love that aspect of it. But like if we just put like juxtapose the two games, one versus the other, like the games are definitively worse. But the everything associated with the game, I can get on
Yeah.
board with. That's kind
Yeah.
of like,
See, I don't have a tie to a school like some of these people may. I don't have I didn't go. I went to Bemidji State University. We played D3,
they didn't make the tournament.
D2. No. We made
Not
our
this year?
whatever the NICS. We did in a couple of those, but no. Like I get that the rooting factor of a team could totally change a perspective, and you're there for you're there for the time and the environment and the atmosphere. It's the real. I think we agree. It's those hardo takes that just it's so much better and it's just rich and it's pure and it's like
Yeah.
no. Like and then that's funny too. Like I think if you really want to equate the intensity and all this, you need to do the NBA playoffs to the tournament. Like that's what you
Right.
should do.
Yeah.
That should be the
Agreed.
1-for-1.
Yeah, because there's no match for the level of talent that is on display in like the NBA finals. Like it's just the ninth man on a finals contending team could drop 40 with his eyes closed in the national championship.
And he's probably not seeing the floor in the finals, the ninth man.
Exactly.
Like they're condensing that thing to 6, 7, maybe 8.
7-man rotation.
Maybe 8. Yeah. Like it's just a different breed. Like and I think we can all agree like the NBA could probably be a better product if they simply shorten the regular season, made them play less back-to-backs. You'd get more, you know what I mean? But I don't know.
I got Julio
Talk
here.
for another day.
Julio, yeah. Oh, I think we beat that one to death. It's just kind of fun
we're
to
on
talk about.
We're on to the best sport. So
yeah, spring training almost over. Opening day tomorrow. Start filling those dailies. I'll be filling those dailies today. Admittedly, I am behind on both my dailies and my dingers and all that sort of stuff because I've been playing way too much hoops and it's really hard. It's really hard to not make this like a full-time thing. If you're trying to get, 100 hoops drafts in, you're trying to get in as many dingers as you can, and you're trying to stream for 2 hours a day. It's really hard. I think the majority of my dingers have ended up being on stream, which was not by design or how I wanted it to go. I'll probably jam another 10 or 20 today, maybe auto draft some of them just to get them in there. I have set my own rankings. We'll see here. I hope I can get another one. Wow, no Bo Sox saying J-Ram just went 101 in the latest perfect game that just started.
Some NFBC crowd saw the big prize pool and made their way over.
That is, I think that's 100% what that is. Like just not understanding the format and the contest right there. This could be a very fun pick for me. You do not see a Julio Rodriguez, Freddie Freeman start very much.
Yeah, I kind of facilitated that a little bit by doing my start, but
what'd you do there? You did Corbin Burns, and did you go double aces? Pocket aces for Neumy. You love to see it.
I've been doing so many like kind of late in my last like 20 to 25, I've been like punting pitcher. So just trying to literally make each team feel like they're just drastically different at this point. Like
Yeah.
I have
No,
4 left
I
to
think
get to
it's
100. So
entirely viable. Yeah, here you go. The SPSPSP coming. Let's go.
yeah, we might make it. We might, you know, if you know, you know.
Get it. Cap it off with Nick Pivetta and you're set.
Nick Pivetta, 3rd round.
Yeah, some interesting starts here. It's kind of funny to see because I have done so many on stream. I did, and the majority of the other ones were slow drafts. I will say in a vacuum that the slow drafts are much harder to find value, to diversify, to that sort of thing. People stay in line far more when they're under control and whatever. Whereas these fast drafts, I think you can find a lot of value with people just panicking on the clock, people not having preset rankings, people just, default auto drafting a couple picks here and there. I have not had the good fortune of doing so because I've done so many of them on stream and so many sharp people are out here jamming against us. But yeah, it's very interesting. When I did 4 dingers last night, and just seeing how different the rooms look, like when you're not on stream or you're not in a slow draft, it was pretty eye popping to kind of be like, wow, these combinations that I didn't give credit for ever being available are actually available. So there's that.
I've actually had some of my drastic value like hounds in slow drafts. I feel like
interesting.
Like, but it was I was doing slow drafts a little before you, and it was still the 8-minute clocks. But I mean, there was some
or
crazy
8-hour clocks,
like,
yeah,
8-minute clocks, 8-hour clocks. So that would be hell. But yeah, like I found. I mean, I found quite a bit of value, some weird stuff in there. So wow, look at that.
Little boys are cranking purple on that side of the board. They don't want to get hung out to dry. They saw what you did with the pocket aces here, and they go, "Oop, we got to start getting ahead of the pitching cliff here." And we're starting to see more and more of that in these contests.
Yeah. It was tough for me not to click my boy Vladdy, but I wanted those double aces. So I appreciate you, Woo Woo, for not taking Burnsy. I would have been hurt.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see here.
Yeah, I got 32 here. A Rosarina goes. Ooh, I was kind of gonna click on. I guess I just take Bo here.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean, this just in terms of like uniqueness for a start. Julio falls 3 in ADP. Freddie Freeman falls 4, and Bo Bichette falls 4.5. Pretty unique combo, I would imagine, to start drafts there. Dolis Garcia goes 33.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know. I've been warming up to Julio.
Julio or Dolis?
Julio. I like you're getting your start. Your anchor kind of Julio type thing, and not even it's going to be an anchor, but just starting off with Julio. You know what?
Wow, he's done it. He has done it. The 3 pitchers in a row. Not to dox I was inverted, Paul, but we're always paying attention to what sharp people are doing in these lobbies. And I actually saw Paul do something similar last night. I believe he started with kind of like anchor outfield, and then he went for, I think, maybe an anchor outfield. Then he did another position, and then he did 4 quote unquote aces, and then just shut it down. And he built a 4-8-8. That was the first time I'd seen that.
I like that.
Why don't you try?
Yeah, I may.
Yeah.
I may actually. I didn't want to take another pitcher there. I was thinking about it. I felt like it would have just been really, really silly because then I would have really been capped if there's all of a sudden a pitcher value that I like at the turn or something like that. I can't just scoop them up because I already invested 4. So I've been really warming up to Marcus Semien and Corey Seager.
I would love to take the tool shed right here, take my boy. But there is a slight glimmer of hope that he might come back. I think I need to lock up an ace right here. And I think McClanahan's kind of like a tier above for me because, as I've stated, I'm not a huge Dylan Cease guy, just in general. Understand the potential there, but I got some
Yeah.
third round Sandy last night, which I mean,
Ooh.
I think that might just be, the season catching up,
Ooh.
where people are going, hey, got to get my guys. We're almost locking. This contest is almost at 90%. Got to get my guy kind of deal. I think Sandy is being the odd man
That's
out right
fun.
now, and there's a little bit of value to be had there.
Yeah, that's fun. I saw you're getting that. I saw member of the fam Dusty got
Mhm.
was it Soto, Machado, and then Burns or something like that as his ace or
Whoa,
something. Let
that's
me yeah,
beautiful.
it was unreal. I was like, he's like, this seems rare. I'm like, tad bit. That's GM worthy if I've ever seen it. Let's see if I can find it to make sure I have the right combo. Seems rare. Oh, sorry, my bad. It was Acuna, Riley, and Burns. Burns at the 23. So that's fun.
Wow, that is. Cunha, Riley, Burns. So that, yeah, you get that coveted Braves stack to start, and then
Look at this board.
kind of looking for some news and stuff. I think one thing that I've been noticing in these draft rooms is that some of the back end news is getting kind of overreacted to in the late rounds. We talked a little bit yesterday about shoot, who did it? Grill Belichick, good smart player, taking Seth Lugo, and we talked about that one yesterday. How it's kind of like, yeah, I understand it. There's some upside there. There's some whatever, but it's kind of like that peak news season where news is like catching up, and like we kind of got to sift through it in terms of like what's relevant to our contest versus what's relevant to baseball in general. We talked a little bit about it with David Peterson. Like David Peterson could be a nice piece in the middle of that rotation for the calendar year, especially if they go 6-man with Senga, and getting him in the 20th round makes a lot of sense. But counterpoint, he could just be pivoted into a long relief guy in 3 weeks' time. You know what I mean? And be rendered completely irrelevant in this contest. So it's kind of interesting for us to start thinking about where we want to allocate capital, and I think it's opening up some value in the later ends of drafts here for us. I don't know. Where do you come out on that, Neumy? Do you think people are overreacting,
Yeah.
underreacting? What do you think?
If I feel like they think like, oh, I got to get in on this guy, and like maybe that's true because at this time that we are in the draft, like there's not going to be much enough steam to even move these guys up. So it depends, I
Mhm.
guess, when it happened. Like my initial thing would be to say like if you don't get them in the later rounds, it's tough to like to once you see them get up into the 14th, 15th. But I think even taking some of these guys as shots right now of this news, because 95%, 90% of the field didn't have this news prior. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So they most likely didn't even take the shots on some of these guys in the 20th. So I think it's definitely viable on some of the guys. Like you can sure nitpick Peterson and be like, yeah, definitely could be that long reliever type guy when they get more when they get him back. Like McGill's always there lurking type deal. So
Right.
probably a cop out answer, but yeah,
No,
I think. But go ahead.
No, I think you're right. I think it is case specific, and I think there is a merit to some uniqueness and whatnot with just in terms of having access to players that nobody else was even thinking of. Right? Jeff asking a really smart question here, like, are you inadvertently sacrificing your upside at pitcher with hyper fragile builds of 4 or 5? And I think the counter to that is, are we expanding our upside in terms of spike weeks come the playoff time from our hitters, right? So I think it's, chicken egg. You can look at it both ways. But yes, absolutely, you are limiting your potential of finding a 2-week starter in those finals. But when we're vying for, an outlier within an outlier, I think it is a viable strategy. It might be proven to be kind of dumb next year when we get a bunch of this data and look back at it. But I don't think anyone's advocating for building, your portfolio this way. I think we're kind of advocating for this is a very unique conversation to have and differentiating technique. Maybe build 1 or 2 teams this way and then kind of cap it at that. Because I don't think anyone's coming into this contest and exclusively building 4 and 5 pitcher builds, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think Nez said it like, if you're doing a large portfolio, do a couple. Like, you know what I mean? Like build a
Right.
couple
Yeah.
like that. And like, I have 4 or 5 pitcher builds total.
Mhm.
Like in all of my teams, and I don't have a 4. So, yeah, I mean, it's
But
fun. It's fun things to talk
Wheeler,
about in the theoretics of like, yeah, Wheeler's dropping a little bit.
man, he's been dropping a lot. Like I understand the FUD a little bit, but like,
You
man,
should
I'll
click the
keep scooping
board.
him up. I'll start scooping him up as my SP 2-3.
Yeah, I don't know. I made a decision there where I'm faced with the decision. I put it into practice basically, and I have 4 pitchers through the 6 rounds. So like
Mhm.
we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? Like I haven't really done this. I normally like to cap like or kind of like wait it out, but we will see. We will see.
One guy that we haven't talked a whole lot about this off season, and I just think feels so damn safe, is Robbie Ray. I know like Robbie Ray has been kind of like this polarizing player where he has like these extreme outliers of terrible walk rates all of a sudden, or he gets hit really hard all of a sudden. But just in terms of like stable 200 innings plus like a high strikeout rate with spike week potential, I think we're kind of underselling Robbie Ray as being the 22nd pitcher off the board or whatever. Like, I think I would rather have Robbie Ray in most builds than Max Fried, than Yu Darvish, than Alek Manoah, Kevin Gosman, flip a coin. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of view him as like Wheeler. I think it would kind of go when I'm looking at this board here. It goes Javier, Wheeler, Ray for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he definitely is the spike week pitcher where he's going to give you the Robbie Ray performance, or most likely kind of be middling. He's picked it up where it's not the Robbie Ray of old, where it's like he's going to give you the Robbie Ray performance or get completely shelled. Not that would
Right.
matter in this contest. We don't get the negative point. We don't really get that unless you don't have any other pitcher scoring. But yeah, he's definitely for me a very spike weekish type pitcher. It was debating. I had a couple guys queued up. One was it was either Manoah, Darvish, or Robbie Ray was who I was going for, but I don't know. I have an infinity for Alek Manoah, so
Yeah, opening day starter. I mean, high upside pitcher for sure. This one's stacking season. This one's interesting. Like Woo Woo J Train making the decision that he's going to go with stacking early, and I think that's totally cool. I'm very interested to see when we have a second year of data sets of how the implications of stacking prevailed, because we have seen in the daily contest one-off teams win. We see super stacked teams win. We see whatever, but and that's one isolated game, right? And I do think stacking plays up in one isolated game, but in a 2-week finals, how does stacking play up if you have 3 hitters from one team, 4 hitters from another team, or 4 hitters, 5 hitters? Like, how do each of those variable plays? I think this year the conversations were all about. I think I'm going to stack. Speaking of which, I'm going to stack Willy Adames with Christian Yelich here. I don't take a ton of Adames, but I really like him. Yeah. Anyways, just kind of thinking out loud through that. I think the conversations of this offseason have all been kind of like, how are we going to treat pitcher, and how do we go hyper fragile of pitcher and this sort of thing. I think next year's conversations could very well be stacking is very important or stacking is not important at all. And I think it's going to come out one way or the other. And I'm kind of leaning toward the latter. I kind of think stacking might not end up mattering as much as we give it credit in a 2-week final. I don't know. That's just kind of where my head's at.
Yeah,
Maybe game environment or matchups will matter, but
exactly. That's
yeah.
why I'm more apt to get like 2 and maybe a 3 stack. Like that's the 3 stack is where I kind of cap it, because it's basically like I'm not really looking for the benefit of it's like in the week sample, because we break it down. It is a 2-week, but like they're broken down into single weeks. So you have to think about that elongated. It's not daily. Oh, I'm on the clock here. That's hilarious. Looks like we're going Nick Castellanos, because I was
second
talking.
share. Your second share.
Yeah. So we'll take him at the ADP discount, I suppose. And if he got the baseball approval, then you know what, wheels up right now. No, but I'm sorry. Now I lost my train of thought. What were we just on?
We're talking about stacking.
Yeah. So like 3 is what I've kind of.
Versus,
yeah, 3 is what I've kind of leaned as my max, and like it's mainly you're benefiting with getting. You're running into maybe 2 or 3 of those guys running into a great matchup, great ballpark, kind of like a great series type thing. Like you said, I don't want to be going balls to the walls with a 5 stack and a 6 stack. It seems obvious, like, oh, in DFS and salary, like you don't take 2 teams stack like this. It's like, yes, that's one day. Then we're elongating that to a week sample for the scoring. So it's interesting. And I lean towards 2 and then 3 max. So I'm in a kind of agreement with you. Are you fully off stacking, or are you doing 2s and 3s like you kind of are doing here as you pick and choose?
No, I'm not fully off in any regard. I'm just very interested to see what the data will reflect next year. I think I was very over the weight on it last year, and I think this year I've been kind of more concerted. But I do use it as the tiebreaker in terms of like 2s and 3s, right? I've been way more conservative, right?
Yeah, I like that.
This is interesting here. Stacking's definitely better for round 1, rising tide lifts all ships sort of thing, where if your offense is mashing more than normal, they all benefit. So yeah, I could definitely see that as being like stacking for round 1 is what pulls and pushes certain teams through, right? But I don't know. Do we then plan for stacking for round 1 more so than planning to stack for the finals? I doubt that will come to fruition, but I don't know. It's just very interesting that I feel we've talked about this before, but I feel like these games are 2 years behind where we're at in NFL, where like our common knowledge bucket, our shared knowledge of, what zero RB, what hyper fragile, what all these strategies look like, whether you employ them, whether they're right or wrong. I feel like right now we're just still figuring out, are these viable? Like, is fragile pitcher fine? Is anchor pitcher, is anchor outfield? But I think we're really feeling through these things, and it's going to take, another season or 2, because every season of MLB that we've had so far has been marred by something, right? Like there was a lockout last year. There was COVID the year before. We have never had a drafting window that has been this long, and we've never had a contest that has been this big. So it's going to be very exciting to see what some of the results-based data shows for us to learn from going forward, because a lot of the stuff that we're preaching right now could be rendered completely irrelevant in 2 years' time. I mean, hopefully it actually is rendered completely irrelevant in a couple years' time, because it means we're growing and learning, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of scared that I only have 2 pitchers right now, Neumy.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking. I mean, I think you could still recover with the just the archetype of guys that you got, and getting Wheeler at the discount.
Yeah, that's true. Wheeler at the discount feels good. We're seeing Joe Musgrove jump back up here. That's one that I moved up personally last night, and I put him right beside Blake Snell in my rankings. The Musgrove news has been very good, and I mean, I'm thinking only a couple weeks, and he was a big Eno guy the last 2 years, and in Eno we trust, right?
Yeah, I've been just been gobbling him up at that little dip that he got. So
yeah, I think Rod's right here, where it just kind of like it increases ceiling but lowers floor, which is just a very smart way of looking at it, because the same can be said in the daily contests as well, right? Where it's kind of like, yeah, I don't really want to take Marcel Ozuna instead of taking Julio Rodriguez on a given night. Maybe their ADPs wouldn't line up very well. I'm thinking the archetype of a pitcher. I think I want to shoot the moon here. I think I want to, when I only go with a 2-pitcher build to start, I think I want to shoot the moon on someone like Chris Sale and hope I found a third ace when I'm kind of behind. I think this is going to be a 7-pitcher build, and we can kind of find some innings or safer innings a bit later. And I think I just try and find a third ace with that pick.
Let's see here.
Neumy2's got 3-pitcher start in Cole Burns, Bieber. Then he took my boy Marcus Seaman. He got Chris Bryant, Manoah. So he's going with the hyper fragile 4-pitcher. Maybe attack on a 5th, Neumy, or probably not.
We're gonna see. We're gonna depend on what I kind of. Yeah, we're gonna playing it by ear. Playing it by ear. All right. Man, it just
JD
also another thing
Martinez.
that I've just been eating up. I mean, he seems like he's closer than farther away. You know what I mean?
Suzuki.
Yeah, I mean, this dude was 80 ADP, like borderline 70 at one point, right? Like to open the contest, and then all of a sudden, boom, oblique, and just falls down. So I've been getting a lot of Seiya at these shares. Just feels good as a 4th outfielder, sometimes 5th. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. That's a good point there. I have not been doing enough of that. Man, it's crazy to see Winker's rise just in terms of ADP. I think he's a pretty good target for me right here if I wanted to make a 3-man Brewers. But I think I want to be cognizant of the fact that people have Winker a lot later, and he's kind of a sketchier bet. That I think pairing Chapman with Bo Bichette would feel nice, because the majority of people that take Bo early try and pair him with Vlad and Springer. That might be a thing. Or I could go ahead and take Muncy and pair him with Freeman. Just to go back to the stacking point for a second there, is as we talk through the dailies and we go, it'll be very interesting to see, like even just using the opening day slate, for instance. If I gun to my head right now, if you were like, what build wins opening day slate, I would say it's 5 one-offs or it's a 2-man and 3 one-offs. That's what I would say right now. That being said, if one team shoots off for 12 runs, you're going to need a 5-man stack, right? But it's something it's something we talked about with the football so much, where, hey, where do we draw the line at stacking versus not stacking versus whatever? Yeah. Because sometimes we would see, like, week 16 got won by a 3-man stack. Then the following week, we would see everyone building 3-mans, or everyone would see that, hey, a 2 running back build won. So the following week, everybody's building 2 running back, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see the field react to this information. What would you think about that, Neumy?
Yeah, I've been I don't know if you can see. I know you don't look at the screen much, but I'll show you here. Like I've been tracking on pen and paper here, and not only doing this, but then checking out my stacks and making sure the pitchers are with teams. So like I said before, we're not going to get many of these big ones. So I've been trying to make sure I'm a little diverse, like I do that. And with that being said, my kind of go-to has been a 3-1-1. A 3-1-1 type build, or a 2-2-2-1 has kind of been for my batting. Like that's what I've seen. Now to your point, I definitely think it could just be some random one-offs. I mean, it's most likely is going to be someone just hits that 5-leg parlay. Like I get that. I built a couple like that. Like just simply take the best guys. I think it's also viable with just taking some of just random one-offs and just guys that strictly aren't up there in ADP. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's very different ways to get about it. And to your 5-man stack, I immediately was like, yeah, it's gonna take a lot for that 5-man stack to really get there. And like you think like, what teams are viable? Well, any of them really, but most people, if they do, are gonna hone in on Braves, Padres, Yankees, like ones that feel safe.
Yeah.
So you could just immediately just do 5 of your your portfolio with a 5-man stack of St. Louis,
Right.
Chicago, the Royals, like all these things like we were talking about, and just do something like that, even a 4-man stack. And like, how many people are going to have that in that contest? Maybe a few.
Mhm.
So I've been thinking like that and getting my combos. I know it's just a long-winded
I
Neumy
like
answer,
that.
like
No, I
normal.
like that a lot. I think that was very well articulated, Numi. I don't think that was long-winded at all. I think that was very smart. The one thing I would add to that is I think that hopefully we see slates this big the remainder of the year. I doubt we see slates this big for baseball the remainder of the year. And in those kind of like smaller field slates, I think it's going to be very easy to diversify in the way in which you're saying, where this is why a low volume player can win in baseball, is because if you just come in right now and do what we said in the NFL streets, where if you're building 150, you got to play the ADP game, you got to play the projection game a little bit, and then get weird with one-offs, get weird with a little bit of whatever, because you're trying to control your ROI of a full thing. If you just jump in these streets and go, hey, it's an opening day, it's a sunk cost, I'm just throwing 5 lineups in there at $5 a piece, and I'm playing shoot the moon or lose it all. I mean, come in here and build. You want to talk about a stack? Stochastic currently, wow, Max Muncy came all the way back, and I was going to take him last time. I'm a little light at pitcher and outfield right now, so mixing in Muncy doesn't feel amazing right now, but I kind of feel like I just want to click his name. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get weird here, and we're going to build late pitcher, late outfield, the complete opposite of you. But to close the book on the point there is Stochastic currently has the Pirates as their second favorite stack tomorrow. Now, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. It's a DFS projection model. It's a DFS site. It's, there's a lot of things that go into why that would be the top stack, right? Some of it's pricing, but in terms of like raw points, and I'm not sure I agree with it, but you want to talk about getting different. Like O'Neal Cruz is the only Pirate. Maybe I've seen Brian Reynolds go like once or something, but like O'Neal Cruz is the only Pirate going. You want to get different and take a shot at winning the overall without getting like even that galaxy brain. Go in, take pitcher in the first round, like just call your shot on whoever you want your best pitcher to be. Make sure you get them, and then just build out a 5-man Pirate stack, a 5-man twin stack, a 5-man something like that, right? Like, and then you give yourself a path at being optimal without competing with scores that everybody else will have, right?
Yeah, it's I've built out I mean, just like you said, like just think of the easiest path for first. Like, we've kind of got away from that with NBA because of how projection and the way the daily game and that kind of works.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be saying that again. People are going to hear that. Like, the easiest path to first would be like, in terms of no one having the lineup that you basically have, is you just build something against DeGrom. You build a Cubs stack against Burns. You do a Tigers stack. You know what I mean? Like, you just do something like that, and then you don't really have to continue to get crazy with the rest of that. You flip that, and you say, I'm going to take a pitcher against one of these top stacks. Now, that's maybe less viable because of the disparity of how many good options you have, and there's a lot of middling options that you really don't have to go all the way to the bottom. But that's also another way to do it, because if no one's going to do that, you just, even these pitchers that are facing some of these top stacks are opening day starters, like you said.
Right.
So if they have just a good game, like, you're just immediately, if the Braves put up 2 runs and it's nothing, like, the Braves are all over. It's the Nats. It's Corbin. If Corbin comes out there and allows like 2 runs in 5 innings, and somehow the Braves just don't get it done because it's baseball, and it's the guys that you don't draft, all of those guys are dead, and they just
all the Acuna teams Braves are dead.
And all these guys are rushing up boards. Elby's is now being thrusted up in ADP. You see Orlando Arcia being drafted. It's crazy right now. Like, that's just the immediate way to gain leverage and an easy path to first. Like, is it likely? No. But now in an 8,000 person contest, it's definitely a viable way to play if you're
Yeah.
whether you're doing small entries or small or max entries. So
Yeah, I love that shout. Little bit of NBA news. We just said that we would be getting some news dump stuff right now. We got the initial Heat report. Kyle Lowry's ruled out, which I should have led with before. We knew Kyle Lowry wasn't going to be playing today, so it kind of makes some of the auxiliary guards look a little bit better. Jimmy Butler just got upgraded to, or I guess not technically upgraded, but as I like to say, midday upgrade, because he gets a Q on the site. He gets a probable tag on the site now. So that's interesting. After not playing yesterday, when it looked like he was going to play yesterday, Gabe Vincent is the only Q tag, which could open up some minutes in the closing lineup for a guy like Victor Oladipo. With Kyle Lowry out, not sure it matters on a 10-game slate for us, but just saying words.
yeah.
And if you guys are playing managed leagues or whatever, I'd go out and stash me a little Liam Hendricks if he wasn't already drafted. He is not going to open the day on the 60 IL, and he could be a top 5 or 6 closer when he comes back. There's been a lot of FUD around him, and I think they'll probably use Kendall Graveman in the absence, but the Underdog MLB site just dropped that he won't be placed on the 60-man, which is
shout out.
some pretty positive news for him.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that. I mean, to go from literally having chemotherapy to pitching is pretty in it like crazy. So I'm just good as a good story, good whole. Glad to see that news.
Absolutely.
For anyone that didn't know, if you just don't really follow, Liam Hendricks was diagnosed with cancer. So just to see him, that positive news is fantastic.
For sure. Oh man, yeah, pitching does get thin in a hurry nowadays. I like that Brady Singer pick. That Brady Singer pick is a bit of a tier for me. The Singer, Garcia, and Gumby.
Wonder how late Tristan McKenzie goes.
Yeah, we said 170 yesterday. I can't recall where he was going last night because I was multi drafting or whatever, so I don't remember looking back. I know that I didn't take him. Like you and I both said, we were off him before, and now you couple in the shoulder injury, and it gets pretty scary. I think I know. Let's see here. Oh, your boy goes. Trey Mancini goes there.
Tough scene, but that's all right.
Damn, man.
I drafted so much of him. I had 30% in my 90 run, so I had to bring it down on Mr. Trey just a tad bit.
That might have been a blessing in disguise for me, but my whole plan was to flip the ADPs of Conforto and Haniger and get Haniger on the way back and kind of create that little mini stack there. And Haniger goes one spot before me. I was trying to get a 20 pick discount on Haniger, but
this dude's gonna do it, isn't he?
It might be a blessing in disguise though, because I do really need pitching, and Luis Garcia does feel a bit safer than the names kind of behind.
This brother took both the back-to-back stacks. Maybe don't take Jerks and Profar at 135, so you need to take freaking Colorado dudes. Oh my goodness.
Flipping the build, baby. It's silly season in the dingers and in the NBA streets. Andrew Vaughn's kind of a guy I wish I had more of. Jonathan India, a guy that we talked a lot about, but I actually didn't end up with as much as I wanted.
I have a lot. I have a lot of Jonathan India.
Yeah, man, I like it. That ballpark, that lineup, you can just pencil him in hitting 2 through 4 every single day. Votto probably not back, but was hitting on the backfields recently, so that looks good. They got some younger kind of talent coming, but it's probably a year away from being a year away. But I don't know, just every day at bats in that ballpark for a guy who was a former rookie of the year. Hits the ball pretty hard, a little bit of speed, might get 10 to 12 bags, something like that. I like him.
Man, I'm rattled from those 2 snipes. I was like, don't worry. I'm like, I'll get I'll get Ryan on the way back. It's okay. Like the CJ Snipe. Tough scene out here for you, boy. Tough scene.
Um,
And I like his squad too. That's what's also making me mad. It looks like a squad I would do.
I'm gonna go ahead and bite the bullet here, and I'm gonna take Jose Barrios. I take damn near none of him, but we're talking about a dude who probably would have been a top 20, top 25 pitcher 2 years ago. Coming off a down year, if he can regain anywhere close to form on a team that's really thin at pitching, I think I kind of want to make that gamble on this roster specifically. I'm not sure I'm buying the story that I'm selling there, but I think on this team it makes sense.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there for the roller coaster, obviously, and then traded to Toronto. It's been struggling a little bit. He's definitely a spike week guy. So I think he kind of fits. I mean, as much as people want to say the blowups, you most likely aren't going to get those negative effects from the blowups. You're only going to hopefully get a spike week. It's just a matter of how many you can put together. So, but I mean, it does seem to, when he does put it together, it's in like a one performance type stretch. And that's what we need is that spike week from him. So maybe it's a overlook having so little of him, but he started much higher. I will say he's slowly fall. He was like in the 130s at one point, right? Like he started a lot higher and was in a range that I just really didn't agree with. So.
Yeah, fair enough. There we go. We're seeing the push up of Marcelo Ozuna there, where now he's going in the 14th round. He used to be a 20th rounder and occasionally undrafted. He'd probably be top of the swap ranks right now. Who do you prefer, Jose Barrios or Patrick Sandoval?
Patrick Sandoval.
Okay. Yeah, you highlighted some of his swinging strike metrics on the slider. Was it the slider or the changeup?
Changeup. Yep.
Yeah. I think they're kind of similar pitchers in terms of they're both going to be on contending teams. They both could have bounce back strikeout rates. They're both changeup dominant pitchers. I think they're two interesting players just in terms of but one's falling and one's rising, right? But I think if you put those two side by side to who's going to start tonight in a daily contest, I think we probably all take Sandoval over him right now. But halfway through the season, I could definitely see that flipping.
Yeah, it could be very much so flipped. Like these get and that I think that point alone holds to why the early pitcher and taking the stud pitcher has been the way that a lot of people have gravitated towards, is because what you just illustrated is two guys that that are being drafted all the time that I feel safe about. But you just made a point that I agreed with. It's like, I mean, they could just be flipped because one of them just isn't good. Like we just simply, oh man.
I was going backdoor. I was like, well, at least I'll get bailed out on my backdoor San Fran stack. I'm going to take Mike Yastrzemski. Yeah. I'm going to take Mike Yastrzemski. He's not a guy that I take very often, but honestly, not entirely sure why he's not a guy I take a lot, especially if you can pencil him in for every day at bats right now with Haniger out. Maybe Yastrzemski should be fine with a little ADP discount there. Interesting to be building a team that, a bunch of guys I don't usually take.
Yeah, it's been kind of like the way I've been going is just to get exposure to guys with I'll make sure I have guys that I have a lot of, and I'll just kind of be mixing in those combos of other guys I don't, especially with them. So I'll just be doing that rather than just like, oh, I don't have a lot of these guys, let's put them all on one team. So it's like that doesn't really benefit me because it's like it's going to benefit that one team versus try and mix in a lot of my anchor dudes. We will do for the stack because I am in on them. I like them.
Tristan McKenzie going 165 here. We benchmarked it at about the 170 area. I think that's probably a fair price. No Bo Sox. I think he's alluding to Tristan here when we were talking about it. It was about 5 minutes ago. But I think he's alluding to Tristan McKenzie going 110 in the perfect game, which is too early. And I definitely agree with that.
And this one right here is for
for your shirt.
For the shirt for Nez. And then we're probably going to cap it there at the 7, I think. I don't quite know what I want to do with this build. I'm still wondering, do I tack on that 5th? There's an option here that if something were to get a little crazy, I might have a little bit of a something to do. Otherwise, I still don't quite know what I want to do with this extra pitcher.
Oh, there's my boy Jeff McNeil going at 183. What his ADP should be. I'm gonna forego Hunter Brown, and I'm gonna go buy into this Sean Manaea bounce back season. That the stuff metrics are up a little bit, and kind of just feels like a good 6th pitcher to
Believe
add.
in the Giants. It's a belief in the
Yeah.
Giants and the pitching staff.
Never.
What they do.
This team's very interesting because for a team in which I low-key punted on pitching, I guess I didn't punt because I took McClanahan and Wheeler, but like I wasn't as pitching heavy as I anticipated. I didn't really end up with that many bats that I love. I like obviously love Freddie Freeman, Bo Bichette, and Julio Rodriguez, though admittedly all 3 guys that I don't take a ton of just based on their ADPs, but we got discounts on all 3. And then I don't know. I don't take a ton of Yelich. I don't take a ton of Adames. I take no Matt Chapman. And I'm kind of just building like a if I was wrong team kind of deal by the looks of it, but not by design, which is just interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with No Bo Sox that Yaz is getting disrespected a little bit there. I think everybody likes to push Conforto and Jock over him. And I'm not sure that's entirely fair, but I do think he could be the odd man out if things broke wrong early in the season and if Haniger was fully healthy. Now I think he looks like a better pick with Haniger expected to miss some time.
Yeah. And that's what stacking will kind of do for you is it'll get you out of your, get you guys that you normally aren't taking just because you're pairing them with another guy that you maybe are. So that's kind of a little benefit of just having too many stack type deals. You'll just pair up 2 teammates and be like, well, not only am I pairing them up as a feel good about the stack, I'm also getting a guy I normally don't take a lot too. So, and just like helps put that puzzle together while you're drafting.
Yeah. That's the Pat Carrain thesis. That's the $2 million thesis right there, where he ended up with a lot of guys on his roster that he normally wouldn't take because he was thinking about week 17 stacks. Well, the equivalent for us there would be like stacking up a couple hitters because, I normally wouldn't take Matt Chapman, but I get an ADP discount and I pair him with Bo Bichette. Now all of a sudden I have exposure to Matt Chapman. Maybe he's the guy I need in the week 17, the week 25 or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't punt pitching to the degree in which
he's right now. Who's right next to me? So we got
Anchor Nestor,
Lance Lynn.
So he punted pitching until the 9th inning, and then there it is on the right hand side of the screen.
I don't hate it for a punting pitcher.
Yeah, sure.
I would have maybe tried, and depending on what profiles were there. When I punt pitcher, I seem to try and get more upside in the arms that I do because I feel like I need to compete that way rather than get like I guess some of the guy I get like a Kershaw type. But my man's gonna go out here, and I was hoping Grayson could somehow fall just to like the 19th and 20th. I'll be like, what a 5th pitcher to tack on in the 19th and 20th is good, man. Okay, well, you know what? It's war. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was the same bet as you. It was like, hey, I made kind of like what I would deem a little bit thinner of a staff than I usually would, and now I love this staff because I kind of just went with a backside of upside arms here, and I'm going to cap it at 7 and just turn the purple button off now. And I got a couple guys in the back of my mind that I like. Oh, you just took one of them. Brian Hayes is one that I like in the back of my mind that I was saving for late here. I guess his ADP's probably right where you took him.
Yeah, just 5 spots ahead. And I once I get to like literally like 16, 17, or I'm just taking
throw it out
and,
the window.
interchangeably, just getting some things.
Yeah, no Bo Sox. We're talking about the the Giants outfield. there and taking like the 4 different pairings and stuff. I think there is a path to no one being the odd man out here. Obviously, I mean, aside from, the standard caveats of injury and whatever. But if Jock turns into the everyday DH, because I'm not entirely sure he can play the outfield anymore, or he plays first base in some kind of platoon fashion with like Wilmer Flores or something like that, I do see a path to like the outfield defense being much, much better with Jock not out there, and then him becoming DH or first base, and all 4 return value on their ADP right now. But I'm low-key getting scared on Haniger. I know we talked about it last show, but I'm getting nervous.
Yeah. You've kind of highlighted the whole Haniger thing with the injuries and just him. Yeah, he just injury prone. Had that one season that was kind of like, I feel like keeping him like afloat. You know what I mean? Like, what was it? 40? Was it? No, not 40. Was it 30 plus? He put up a pretty big.
He hit 40 home runs. He hit 42 home runs. Yeah, there was 42 home runs.
And just kind of had that injury like bug. But you know me, like I'm always gonna take the dip, especially in this in a market type thing. And I'm always like a little more optimistic with injuries. Just like, maybe they can just stay healthy and put it together. But I mean, yeah, it's the shoulder. It's that nagging like injuries over and over again. And is it the same shoulder that it was before, or is this a different injury?
That's a good question. I actually do not know. I know that he had the shoulder, the oblique, and the testicle when he was in Seattle. Those were like the 3 injuries that he was there and back with. And I'm not sure which shoulder or the timeline on any of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see here. So I
guess, to your point that you're reiterating there, that like it does kind of feel chasey, where, oh man, I was really hoping I was humming and hawing right there between DJ LeMahieu, who's going to be leading off to start the year, and kind of just, buying into a little bit of that. But then I was hoping that James Outman was going to come back for my mini Dodgers stack there. But, PJB all over it right there. Yeah. Sounds terribly unpleasant.
Yeah, he had last year, it was in 2022, he had COVID, followed by an ankle, followed by a back. So I think this is just another new injury. But like you said,
those are ones I didn't even remember them. Like, that's how many it's been.
Yeah, just I'm going to do myself a favor and not look up Byron Buxton injury history because that's a SpongeBob scroll right there. Let's see. Yeah, I think I have an idea how I want to wrap this up, but I'm like wavering back and forth. Because I kind of like how my hitters. I mean, I always like how my infield looks. Perfectly fine with how that looks.
Right.
It's a little less appealing than most, but I mean, I still like the guys in there. Outfield is. What do I do at pitcher?
For me, it's weird. I've been taking more James Outman than I have been Miguel Vargas, but like I kind of feel like Vargas's playing time is safer.
Yeah, I've been taking a little more, Miguel Vargas than Outman, and that was just beforehand. Outman has seemed that did he get taken yet, or is he still there?
Yeah, he just didn't. Like, that was my plan.
Yeah, so he's been falling. He hasn't caught the steam I would have thought, basically. For being like, he's making the open day roster prospect for the Dodgers.
Right. We just got Moncada news, and then Moncada goes there. I don't get this FUD on Gleyber Torres because I don't think Anthony Volpe is coming for his job. Volpe is a very good, sure-handed shortstop defender. Gleyber Torres is going to play second base. Gleyber Torres could be, odd man out with, but the Yankees do so much of the rotational stuff. I could find a way that like Gleyber Torres is odd man out, where LeMahieu plays second, Josh Donaldson plays third, Rizzo's at first, Stanton is playing DH, and then Cabrera's in the outfield, something like that. I could find paths to him being out. But like just the way the Yankees have operated for the last 2 years under Aaron Boone, is it's been rotational, like scheduled day off for everybody. And I just think they have enough bodies there that, Torres is going to play 6 days a week to start the year. And I think they have incentive to keep trying to see what they can get out of Glaber, because like people forget before Volpe, like Glaber was Volpe. Like, you know what it's just, I don't know. It's interesting. Maybe not to the same degree of prospect, but just interesting to see him falling like this. I'll go ahead and I'll take a Glaber plus LeMahieu mini stack that I think will be kind of rare, because it'll always be coupled with one of the premium outfielders.
50 pick discount of that. You'll never say no to that on Glaber in the second to last, basically last round.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be a guy who could go 2020, right there. Trying to think who I can get weird with my last.
Oh no, I'm gonna panic. Oh wait, what? My freaking
positional limits. Oh, Neumy fell victim to the positional limits. Oh no. Hey, it wouldn't have been a Neumy stream without a Neumy tilt moment. So bless.
Oh, I just, like a second before it happened, I had an inkling that I was like, wait, I should click him, shouldn't I? At least it was
Cal
Tyler
Quattro.
Mahle,
Esteury Ruiz made the opening day roster, could play every day, could steal 40 bases. He could also not hit his weight. I've been buying in a little bit to Brian De La Cruz, who hits the ball super freaking hard. But I'm going to get weird, and I'm going to build out this Dodgers stack and go ahead and take David Peralta as the left-handed stick that finds his way into that lineup with regularity, and pairing him with a Freddie Freeman and a Max Muncy kind of feels like a fun little unique Dodgers stack, because much like the Yankees, when we pay the Dodgers tax and we play the Yankees tax, you normally stack with the top guys. You don't stack with the bottom guys. Let's get a little weird here and stack with the bottom guys.
Yeah. What if what you need in those playoff weeks is Max Muncy and David Peralta? Like what? Just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
Totally agree. Yeah. Yeah, no Bo Sox, reiterating kind of what we were saying about the Glaber stuff there. Fully agrees. And this is one that I hadn't exercised yet, is there is a path to him getting traded, because he is still like a valued, asset, right? Like let's say Cabrera mashes and they have to find an outfield spot for him, or, Jason Dominguez is knocking down the door at AAA, or maybe they start him at AA. I actually didn't see where he gets assigned, but let's say he's knocking down the door with that 40 homer upside. Maybe we go ahead and find a trade partner there. Thoughts and prayers, Neumy. Yeah, at least you got auto drafted a twin. There you go. Neumy has the auto draft settings on. He actually built a HUD of his own where it only auto drafts twins. He has a
yeah. For some reason, I have a lot of Jorge Lopez, even though he's a closer. It's just like last round. It's just like Jorge Lopez over and over again. I don't know what's going on, but
I like that. Yeah, that's very good.
A lot of Joan Duran just locked up. That 98 Splinker's coming for that round 4 100K baby.
Is it ever? I'm going to go ahead. I am going to save that draft board. I'm going to put it out there for the people.
I don't hate it, I guess. Like I don't like hate it. I don't love it. I'll just say I don't hate it.
All right. Let's call our show there. We got opening day. We're going to be in those draft lobbies today. We will be a news note nugget. I'm pretty sure I said it once before, but for anybody just here, actually, I haven't asked anybody all day. We've been here for 2 hours. Do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow. There's still 40 of us hanging out. Big respects for hanging out all afternoon with us here. Appreciate you all for sure. We will be an hour early, maybe an hour and a half early, so stay tuned. Tomorrow we're going to discuss that on our end, but just because of the way in which opening day starts, we want to do like some kind of like live before lock style drafting together and talk about the slate in depth, talk about the lineups as they come out. It's going to be a trial and error for us because it's going to be our first time doing that together, but it should be a lot of fun. And looking
so
forward
much
to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tune in.
Yeah,
Even if you're not drafting and you're not in it, just it's gonna be great. The vibes are gonna be hot. It's gonna be Christmas morning for us.
Christmas morning, baby. Yeah.
Instead of sharing presents, we're sharing lineups. We're sharing this and that, the weather, and it's gonna be fantastic, guys. So yeah, definitely tune in.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm gonna go ahead actually and bring up this draft on my phone quickly. I have the draft board here so we can see everybody's draft stuff there, but I want to go ahead and click it just because it's easier to read off for me. We went with Shane McClanahan, Zach Wheeler, Chris Sale, Luis Garcia, Jose Barrios, Sean Manaya, and Grayson Rodriguez at Sweet Pick 200. That is fun. Freddie Freeman, Bo Bichette, Willie Adames, Matt Chapman, Max Muncy, DJ LeMahieu, Glaber Torres. And then we went Julio Rodriguez, Christian Yelich, Lars Nootbaar, Michael Conforto, Mike Yastrzemski, and David Peralta. Only a 6 outfielder build that is kind of anchor Julio that feels quite fragile, but we ate some middle stacks there that kind of ate up our infield value. All in all, turned out okay. Not a bunch of names that I love there. Neumy, how'd your squad turn out?
Yeah, so we did the double aces to start. Cole Burns, then tapped Bieber. And then we went wait a little bit, took Manoah. And then with our was supposed to be last pitcher in a 5-pitcher build, I took Edward Cabrera to just, put a little flyer out there with that group. And then we forgot about positional limits and ended up autoing Tyler Mahle. Shout out the Twins, best pitcher on the Twins. That's not looking so great with the velocity continuing to just be where it is. But either way, Cole Burns, Bieber, Manoah, Edward Cabrera, and Tyler Mahle as a 6-pitcher rotation.
Let's go.
All that up with Marcus Semien, Nathaniel Lowe.
Yes.
We got that right, baby. We got that right.
Wait.
Nathaniel.
I'm kidding.
Oh, my God. JT Realmuto, Jonathan India, Ahmad Rosario, Key Brian Hayes, and Luis Reyes. In the outfield, we got Chris Bryant, JD Martinez, ball hit deep left center field, and going. Nick Castellanos in there with Losea Suzuki, Mark Canna. Mark Canna, a guy I really don't take much. Was supposed to stack him up with someone, totally got sidetracked. So, and then Oscar Gonzalez and the shirt, Andrew McCutchen. So
perfectly on.
This
brand.
is a weird
Perfectly.
draft. When this one ends up being my number 1 entry throughout the season, that's just going to be quite poetic. So
it will, won't it? All right. Appreciate everybody hanging out. We will be back tomorrow, as previously noted, an hour early at minimum, maybe an hour and a half early. Apologies for internet off the top. It looks like I ironed out some of it. But I don't know. Hopefully get that sorted for tomorrow. I have no idea what's going on here. I'll make some phone calls though and get ahead of that. Yeah, anything to add, Neumy?
No, can you hear me? Now I got the Wi-Fi bar, so.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, yeah, good luck. I got nothing to add.
Yeah, good luck to everybody drafting for tomorrow's opening day slate. Good luck to anybody playing the hoops slate this evening. We'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate y'all hanging out. We'll be hanging out in the Deposit Kingdom Discord for the remainder of today's action. On behalf of Neumy, Nez, myself, everybody's favorite time of the show, the peace.